Hi everyone. Thank you for stopping by and coming back to my channel, or if you are new and this is your first time, thank you. I hope that you resonate with the messages, and I hope that in some way you were able to learn and heal from this. But I'm just gonna get into it and say that I am 28 and I feel more alone every year, but I also feel more like myself every year, and I don't know if that's so much of a loss anymore to not have a lot of connections, but then to know myself more. And I know the people who resonate with me would agree with that, but it does get lonely sometimes. And actually, the older that I get, the more that I just don't want to deal with people, especially people my own age, because, I mean, this is going to sound a little bit prejudiced, but pretentious in saying that, I don't really like my age group that much because it's very rare and hard to find someone that you can talk to on a very deep connection. I feel like a lot of people my age are surface level, and I want to get below the surface of every day, and I feel like we can't really get past that. And some of them, or I guess a lot of them, are superficial or fake, and I just don't vibe with that. I'm too real and honest of a person, and I say what's on my mind, and sometimes that can offend people, or if they're, I don't know, looking for someone to blame, it seems like I'm the easy target. And that's always kind of been the case, and I don't really know why that is, but it's been like that since I was a kid. It could just be because I'm quiet, I'm nice, I'm kind. I will stick up for myself if I have to, but I'm also the kind of person where it doesn't bother me, so I just let it go. But then that can make people think that they can continue doing it, and they get upset when I've reached a point. But anyway, regardless of that tangent, the older I get, the more that I just want peace. And the older I get, the more that I don't relate to other people. It feels like I am just too much of an individualist for people. And honestly, I don't really know how to relate to people anymore. I don't really know how to understand them. I don't know how to talk to them. I couldn't even tell you what most people are doing or why they're doing it. I really feel like I truly don't understand people. My motivations are what help me to grow spiritually, financially, a career, a job, my art, my writing, anything that helps me learn or grow is my happiness. And I couldn't even tell you what really makes people happy today. And sometimes I wonder if they even are. But the older I get, the more I just want peace. And I'm 28 and I just want peace. And so suddenly I've realized that sometimes it's better to have no one than to constantly argue, to constantly question where you stand with someone, to not understand a person, to argue with them, to always be in a constant discomfort. And previously in my life, sorry, my cat is playing with his toy, but previously in my life I would have stayed around a lot longer, tolerating that kind of behavior. And now that I'm older, it's like I don't want to waste any more minutes on that. I already know how this connection is going to play out now. I can already see the signs, so I'm just going to end it here instead of continuing with it like I always used to do, because I was lonely, because I was afraid of being alone, because I was afraid of taking that step. And now I've realized that it's better to have your peace and to be alone. It is not worth your discomfort. It is not worth the arguments or the walking on the eggshells. It's not worth it to try so hard to give everything that you've got into a connection or a relationship, and you're still feeling like that's not enough. And I know that there are a lot of people out there that stay in relationships or connections when they know that it's already over. And I'm the person here to tell you that stop. It's time for you to move on. It's time for you to let go. It is time for you to accept the loss. And it is time for you to be brave. Because one more minute with the wrong person is even more time spent away from the right one. And why would you want to miss that? Life is so short anyway. We have such limited experiences here or opportunities. Why would you want to risk not crossing the path of the person that you were always meant to be with because you were waiting around for the wrong one? And I am also a spiritual teacher and healer, and I am a tarot reader, and that is one of the things that I see constantly, all the time, is people asking if a connection is going to come back, if it's going to be how it was, if they should stay, is he going to change, is she going to change? And one of the biggest lessons that for me as a reader that I give to people is that spirit is always bringing you these connections so you can grow and learn from them. A lot of these connections are not meant to last. They are meant to teach you. And I think if more people realized that, if more people realized the purpose and understood the purpose of that connection, they would have an easier time of letting go. And that's what I try to give to people. I try to give them that learning experience and say, hey, this was the reason why this connection didn't work out. And did you learn this? If you didn't learn this, you're just going to keep meeting that same person in a different body. So that is the one thing I see constantly, is the unwillingness to let go of something that you once had. And I'm not degrading anyone, because I know from experience how hard it is to let someone or something go. I was in a connection for 3 years when I knew after the 1 or the 2 that it wasn't what I wanted, just because it was comfortable, just because we knew each other, because other people told me that this was right. I stayed for longer than I know I shouldn't have. And that's 3 years of my life that I lost. And I know that I don't regret it because of what I learned and how I've grown from it. But still, that was 3 years of my life. And I realized how old that has made me now. I'm not old, but you lose time and you can never get it back. And you can never get back your age either. And you keep getting older, and when you get older, especially as a woman, there's certain timelines or events that you could miss. And now I don't want to miss anything. I'm hearing that song, like, I don't want to miss a thing. That one. Every time I close my eyes. That one. Is that by Kiss? I'm really bad at remembering the names of songs and the people who sang them. But that is something that I think about a lot, especially since I've had my birthday last month. And I didn't have a birthday party. I didn't really have anyone to celebrate it with except for like one other person and my parents. And I have been alone for a solid 1.5 years now. I kind of moved away from my friends, and I know that's really a dumb decision, but where we were all living was pretty expensive, and so I moved an hour down south from that area. And, I thought, oh, an hour isn't that big of a deal, but apparently it was. And so I kind of lost that friend group. And apparently I thought that we were a lot closer than that, and the bond was deeper. And so I had a really depressing awakening that sometimes, no matter how close we think that we are to people, it kind of seems like it's easy for other people to let us go. And that's kind of what I found, because I thought an hour wouldn't make much of a difference, and you might call me stupid for not knowing that, but at the time I thought it was a good idea. And where I live now is such a small community. It's a place where I grew up, my hometown, and I feel like it's very small-minded people. I don't really feel like there are a lot of connections here that I could make with anyone, especially with younger people my age. I connect to people online. I've never been able to meet a real friend in life, or if I had, it just kind of dwindled. It didn't last, is what I mean. Sorry, my cat is messing with my plant here. But I don't know, especially in this area, I don't know if this is the East Coast or what, but I've never really fit in here, and I haven't had much luck in meeting people. So it's just a bit weird being 28 and being so alone, because I always thought I would be somewhere else at this point in my life. And the holidays, well, Christmas Eve's tomorrow, Christmas is the day after, and I don't have any family to celebrate it with. I'm also an only child, so I don't have that sibling kind of bond that's always permanently there. My parents moved us away from my family when I was younger, and they just live too far away, and I honestly just don't have the money to go and see them, and most of my family doesn't get along. Most of my family is pretty close-minded. Unfortunately, I was born into a family where family doesn't really have much of a meaning, and I wish that it did. Especially on the southern East Coast, family is, I don't know, family I feel like is something that's personal to people here. I could never imagine being that close with your cousin that you would text them and ask them if they wanted to do something with you. So I've never had that closeness to anyone, and when I say that, I really and truly mean that. I've never really been close to anyone, except for maybe the few people that I've had a relationship with or dated, because you kind of have to have a deep connection with them to do that. But if it's not a relationship, I don't really have a deep connection with anybody, it seems. Now, all of my connections that I do have are incredibly meaningful and important to me, but I don't really know how close I am. I would like to think that I could call them up at 2 a.m., but I would never, because I don't want to interrupt them in their life. But I also know that I would be able to solve it on my own. But honestly, I'm not really sure what they could do for me anyway. So even then, I guess it's just this independent streak I have, this disconnect that I feel from people. It's really there, and I feel it pretty much every day, all the time. And if you are also alone for the holiday season, just know that you're not alone. There are more of us that are by ourselves than you would know. And there is a difference between actually being alone and feeling alone. And if you are with family, you can still feel alone. So I just pray that those of you who are feeling alone, even with family, or who actually are alone and you feel lonely, I really hope that it gets better for you. I hope that you are able to find a connection that helps you and also heals you. And don't forget to pray, because I know that it's one of the things that we need the most and one of the things that we do the least. But I've seen it in my life how that works. And ask for what you want. Ask for that peace that you know that you need. And don't ever give up. I know that it's hard and that it's lonely, and I know that a lot of us are really tired of the blandness of everyday life and of not having a deeper connection to people. I know that you want that. I know that is what we all want. And I'm not really sure how we're going to get it or how we're going to get there, but I feel like if more people were open and honest with their feelings like this, we would be able to find each other a lot more. And I hope that with the New Age and the spirituality movement, New World Order to things, that we will just end up connecting more. And I hope that more boundaries go down, and I hope that the superficiality of life deteriorates and that people find a deeper meaning to things, and that they reflect more on their life, that they reflect on the lessons that they've learned in every single situation or scenario, and that they better themselves, because you cannot remain stagnant in this life. You will never get anywhere if you stay that way. And that is why I'm alone, is because I don't want to stand still. I want to keep moving. I don't want to keep doing the same things. I don't want to take an interest in things that I think are shallow. And yeah, you can label me whatever you want for that, but it's what I feel and it's what I know is me. And I'm sorry that I can't do that with you, but I can't. There's so many more deeper lessons that I can learn, and there's so many other things I can do to grow myself, that I just don't want to do the things that don't reach us to our highest level, our highest being. If I'm not evolving and I'm not growing, then why am I doing it? And I know that it's to have fun, and I know that it's to relax, and I have that, I do. But at the end of the day, I don't feel like I have a sense of purpose if I haven't gotten anything done. And I'm constantly trying. I'm constantly doing something. I'm constantly creating and moving and making. And it's really hard to find people like that too, who are motivated and don't need that don't feel like they need to rely on someone else to do it with them or for them. So while I am 28 and I would love friends and I would love deeper connections, at the end of the day, I have found my peace in the things that I do and make and create, and that is what gives me happiness. So I feel like if you are really struggling with having friends or making friends, go back to what makes you happy, whether that's your hobbies, your interests, whatever it was that got you motivated, whatever it was that you felt like you had a purpose in or that was significant to your life, go back to doing that. Because it sounds awful, but I feel like one of the worst investments that you can make is in other people. The best and greatest investment that you could ever make is in yourself, and that is where you're going to find happiness. You will never find happiness in other people. You will only ever find happiness in you. So So you have to create that happiness for yourself, no matter how it is that you create it, whether that is drawing, art, reading, writing, painting, journaling, whatever that is, make it and create it, because that is your own self-expression, and that is, I promise you, the happiest thing that will ever make you is knowing that you're in your purpose in some way. So that is the lesson. I hope that you take it. I hope that it helps. If you don't want it, then leave it and let it go. But I hope that this finds you well. I hope that you have listened and resonated, and I hope that you will come back next time. And I love you all. Peace.